Hi, my name is Sam Handy.
Hi,
What's your name?
Marisa West.
Marissa West. Do you go by Marissa or?
My friends call me Missy.
All right. Is it okay if I call you Missy then?
Yeah.
Cool. Um, First, I just want to get to know you a little bit. So, before we go into any, while you're here, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? What you like to do, hobbies?
Well, I really like to sing,
Oh
and
yeah.
I can play the guitar if I have one, and I'm really good at languages too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like in school, that was one of my favorite things was learning foreign languages. So that was my electives, was I took language classes.
Awesome. So, what kind of languages do you speak?
Well, I've studied Spanish and French and German in high school, and then I was in some places where like there was a lot of immigrants, so I studied Portuguese and sign language and
Wow,
Russian, some other stuff.
that's awesome. So maybe are you thinking about going to do that someday or?
I want to be a teacher,
Okay, cool.
and so I thought maybe since I know some languages, maybe if I got a license, I could maybe do that in school.
That sounds awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Marissa. What I want to do is clarify about how I work a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So I want to let you know what you can expect from me, and then we'll get into what I can, what I'm going to need from you. Okay.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm going to do a lot of listening. I'm going to do some question asking. It's going to seem weird, some of the questions I might ask you, but it's just stuff that I need to help me build where we need to go further on. Also, there's a confidentiality. Anything that you say here today between you and me, it stays between you and me. In the exception, or with the exception that if I feel like you're going to hurt yourself or you may hurt someone else, then I have to go to my supervisor and I would have to break confidentiality. And also, if I feel like there's any child abuse or elder abuse, that would be another reason why I'd have to break confidentiality.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds fine.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said so because I've got a form here for you, and it's just, and this confidentiality form says just exactly the same thing, but you're more than welcome to read over it,
Okay.
sign it for me.
So it basically says that you're gonna like not tell people
Absolutely.
what I say. Okay.
And I want you to know that you can feel free to say anything that you want to. I don't want you to hold back anything because I can't help you if I don't know the whole truth about something.
Okay.
Okay, and so what else I want to do today is let you know that this is probably going to be about a 45-minute to an hour-long session. So I'll go through everything, and I want to do what they call a biopsychosocial assessment, and basically I'm just going to cover things like mental health and things of that nature, get some information. But before I can get into any of that, why don't you tell me why you're here?
Okay. Well, I'm 18 years old, and I love my parents a lot, but they move all the time. Like my whole life, I've never been in one place for more than a year, and usually within 6 months, like we're gone from place to place. My dad has a past that he's ashamed of, and apparently a police record. He won't even tell me what's on it.
Okay.
And so, like, he's always afraid that his employers are going to find out what's in his past. And so, before they do, we just pack up and leave. Anyway, I'm frustrated because I just graduated and I want to go to school. Like, I want to go to college. I want to be a teacher, but I can't do that moving with my parents every time they pack my sisters and me up and go somewhere. Like, I'm not going to be able to re-enroll in colleges every, 2 or 3 months. So I need to find a way to not be homeless because, like, right now we're living in my parents' car. But sometimes we live in hotels, sometimes we live in government housing, sometimes we live with friends that they make. I've been a tenant farmer. I've been all kinds of stuff, but
Okay.
but I need a stable place so I can go to school and start my life. I'm 18.
Awesome. Okay. So this is what I'm hearing so far. Your parents are moving around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to go to school, and you you want to have something more stable in your life. Start school because I mean, it sounds like you could go to school and do anything. You're so talented and you have all these different skills already built. Um, so, are you wanting to move away from your parents, or are you wanting to stay with your parents?
I love my parents and I would love to stay with my parents, but my parents are probably not going to stay with me. Like, if I choose to put down roots and stay somewhere, they're probably going to leave very soon. And that's going to be really sad and really hard for me. But like I said, like, I have to make friends every time I leave someplace. And like, I graduated and I had a steady set of people that I knew and I felt like I could depend on. And then they moved me and now I'm here and I don't know anybody and I'm living in a car. So if I'm going to build relationships, like I need to build them and then keep them. And so I want to stay with my family, but I would rather just be stable with myself.
I totally understand. One thing that really is concerning me right now is the fact that you're staying in a car. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about your family? How many people are there in your family?
There's five of us. My mom and my dad, and then I have two younger sisters. One of my sisters is 14,
Okay.
and the other one is 11.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what it's like staying in a car with five people? Maybe I'm not clarifying, or maybe I'm not understanding really. When you say staying in a car, explain that to me. Tell me what that's like.
Okay, well, it's actually a van.
Okay.
So we're
Okay.
lucky enough to have a van at this point in our life because we've not always had that. But basically, like mom and dad try to find a place for us to park every night, and then my sisters and I like sleep lined up in the back. Like my dad will put the seats down so it's flat and we make a bed, and then my mom and dad put their seats back in a reclining position. We all sleep in the car, so we're all together. Like we all feel safe. It's like camping.
Okay.
All the time, and pretty
time.
much all of our possessions are what fit in the van. So, like if we do acquire things when we move into like government housing or whatever, we have to leave it behind because if it doesn't fit in whatever vehicle my dad has at the moment, then like we'll have this van until it stops running. And then whenever it doesn't run anymore, we'll get some other clunker that my dad gets on his no credit.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're staying in your van, and it's the five of you, three sisters and the two parents. I would like to know, how close knit is your family? Like, are you super close?
Well, I mean, like, they're the only people who have consistently been in my life,
so that's what you know.
So that's what we know, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I could never understand what you're going through. I have no idea what that must feel like to be 18 years old and to live in a van with my family. I mean, it might seem like camping, and I just can't imagine it. And so I have to admit that it's very awesome of you to be in here and to be able to share that with me. And I'm glad that you feel like you can or need to move on, and that you need something more stable. And I commend you for coming in and asking, or trying to get some help. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and start asking you a few more questions. I'd like to know a little bit more about, is there any mental health history within your family?
Like what do you mean?
Have you ever been hospitalized for any kind of mental health?
No.
Are you on any kind of medication?
No.
Okay, these are the kind of things that I need to know. And also, these are going to be a little hard to ask for me, but I have to ask them. Have you ever thought about suicide, or have you ever had thoughts of killing yourself or hurting yourself?
No.
No? Okay. And on the other side of it, have you ever had thoughts of hurting someone else or killing someone else?
No.
All right. Good. It's good to know. So, on the same token, have you ever been abused? Physical abuse or any other kind of mental abuse, anything that I should know about?
Nobody's ever touched me. No.
Okay. How about mental abuse? Any kind of abuse?
Like, what do you mean?
Um, do you get yelled at? Do you feel unsafe?
No. I mean, my mom and dad fight a lot right now, so
Okay.
the van is not a happy place to be sometimes.
Right. I gotcha.
But I mean, I know my parents love me, even if they're a little bit snippy or not around.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is there any other? You said your mom and your dad fought a lot. Does it ever get physical?
No, no. Like
No.
my dad would never hit my mom. I don't think he would ever hit us either. I mean, we got
Okay. So do they argue a lot? Lots of yelling and
yeah, but mostly like my dad's a really angry person right
okay.
now, and so like he used to be a really good dad, um, and kind of like spent time with us, and even though like when he wasn't working, but now he even when he's not working, he'll come back and then he'll just like go off on long walks to who knows where and kind of just ignore us.
Right.
And my mom is really quiet these days. She doesn't really talk to us a whole lot. So even if she's there, like I'm the one who's pretty much taking care of my sisters. Like I find stuff for us to do. Not a whole lot to do, but I try to like walk them down to the library if there is one, or something that I know we can get away from my parents because my dad is angry, and so if you ask him anything, he'll just bite your head off. And I don't think he means to be abusive. He just
Right.
is frustrated, I think.
Okay. So I hear you telling me that he's angry a lot here lately. Um, do you ever feel unsafe, or do you think that there's any chance that he might be more physically abusive, or do you fear for your safety right now where you're at?
No,
Okay.
no. I just wish that my circumstances were emotionally nicer place to be in. Like sometimes I just don't even want to be there. Like I come back and get my sisters because I feel sorry for them
Yeah.
because they're younger than me and they don't have any place to go. But as soon as I make friends, which I will very soon, because I'm usually pretty good at like meeting new people, you
Okay.
get good at that when you move a lot. Then I mean I'm gonna probably find as many opportunities to not be around wherever my parents are,
I gotcha.
just because it's not fun to be
Okay.
there.
Well, these are all things that are really important. Not only for finding you some way out, but also, I mean, it's really important that you feel safe and you feel like you're getting taken care of. Because once we can get you taken care of and get you in a better place, then you can help with your sisters or your mother or your father. We can start making some kind of leeway for you to help them as well. So, next is I want to know maybe a little bit about your medical history. Do you have anything in your history that it would be important for me to know about?
Not really. I mean, even when we're pretty healthy because, like, even if we do get sick, we can't go to the doctor because
Okay.
we don't really have good insurance. So the walk-in clinic's like the best we can do. So usually, if we get sick, we just like rest and sleep it off, and most of
Okay.
us aren't sick. So
Well, I'm going to take a few notes, and that's good to know. As far as I heard you say that you didn't have very good insurance. Do you have insurance at all?
I don't know. I really don't know what my mom and dad
Okay.
do
So
for
would you
us
say
when we
that
go to
you
the doctor. So
would you say that you go to the walk-in clinics most often?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that's fine.
And like
That's
my
fine.
mom finds out where there's like free clinics and stuff, and we go do that.
Okay. All right. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your spiritual, or are you very spiritual? Are you religious?
Well, yeah. My parents used to be ministers,
Oh, okay.
and in a few churches, but like I said, my dad's passed. Apparently, apparently some people at this one church we were at found out about my dad's past, and so ever since then, like, it's become just a continuous cycle of leaving because my dad is always worried that somebody's going to find out and then we're going to get the same kind of treatment. Like, it was really bad at that church, and we go to these churches where there's like a lot of rules, and every church you go to is different rules, but it's always very like you have to be a certain way, you have to do
Right.
things a certain way, and I don't know. My parents, I believe in God,
Okay.
but I don't like church. I
Okay.
pretty much hate church people because I think they're pretty two-faced, and like they would take a lot better care of my parents, and my parents wouldn't be in the position they're in if they weren't like my dad wouldn't be as angry if those churches hadn't been the way they were.
And the reason I ask about churches because that sometimes is a good place um, for support, and sometimes you can go to churches or any kind of mosque or whatever your religious belief might be, and that's a good way of finding support. Do you feel like it sounds like you move around a lot and you don't maybe stay at one church very often, so sometimes it's hard to find support within a church if you're moving constantly. Are you currently going to church anywhere now with your
Not
family?
not here.
Okay.
The place that I was at before, there was a youth group that was really nice, and they had like a bus ministry,
Oh yeah.
and so they would come get me and my sisters. My parents wouldn't go, but we would go, and so that was kind of nice because then they would let us do things like they would pay for us to go on outings.
So did you sing a lot in church?
Yeah, when I was younger and we were actually going to churches, I was always up on the stage because like my parents were ministers, so.
Do you think that's where you learned how to sing, or?
It's where I learned how to sing. Yeah, definitely. I learned to play guitar from a guy at a school I went to
Okay,
a long
cool.
time ago. So
That sounds awesome. All right. So the next thing I'd like to know about is maybe some social systems within your or within your life. Normally, this would be families, schools. I imagine since you graduated, do you have any friends from high school that you keep in contact with?
um, not really because like we never have
Yeah.
internet and we hardly ever get to have a phone. So like it's really I mean like I know a lot of people my age keep up with people that way, but I don't really have. I have a Facebook.
Okay.
And
well,
so, like,
there you
I'll
go.
get on Facebook at the library sometimes, but I've got friends. I've got friends literally all over the country, and some people in other parts of the world because, like, we meet people from other places when but nobody that I feel like I could just be like, hey, can I move in with you? Like,
One thing I want to touch on before we move on is that it sounds like you're really good at making friends.
Yeah.
And that comes from moving around a lot. You have to. I know you have to be able to adapt and to make friends easily, but when you move on and have to go to the next town and you have to make new friends, sometimes people don't make friends as easily because they just give up and say why bother. But that's one thing that I think that is really strong for you and that you're going to be able to use this to your advantage. Is the fact that you're so open and so social and so easily to get to know.
well, yeah, but the thing that's really frustrating about it is, like, I can make friends really fast, but I tell everybody the same stories,
Oh yeah,
but I don't really know anybody.
right.
That you know what I mean? Like
Right,
I have
because
lots
you
of
haven't
friends
put
that I
down
can have
roots.
fun with, but I don't have a whole lot of friends that I can ask for things.
Right, I gotcha. Well, we're gonna try and get you some way to set some roots, maybe, and then those friendships will build into something stronger. So, you've told me a little bit about your family, but maybe you can give me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about maybe why you're moving around so much, or tell me about your sisters. What do you feel comfortable sharing with me?
I don't know, like you know about my parents.
Sure.
Okay. My dad was like really abused when he was a kid,
Okay.
which is why I think we're like he doesn't abuse us because he went through so much. Just about every way you could be abused, he was.
Okay.
And my mom, not nearly as bad as my dad, but like she grew up in the church, and so she's got like all of the like legalism stuff hanging over, and she also got kind of emotionally abused. And back in the day, they would like discipline a lot different, and so mom says that she got hit a lot. Um, my parents like spanked me when I was a little kid, but I've not had a spanking since I was probably 4. I don't even remember them. So,
Okay.
um, and that's like they made a point to do that. But I know that my parents went through a lot, and so my parents seriously need counseling. Like my dad needs counseling. They probably need counseling for their marriage, but I'm just a kid, so like I can't say that because they would probably get mad at me. But like my dad, he never made peace with his dad, and we were living in California, and my grandparents were living in Pennsylvania, and then his dad died, and we couldn't even go to the funeral because it was too far away, and we didn't have any money. And so that's when my dad got really angry. Like he just wouldn't talk to anybody about that situation, but we know that's what's bugging him. And he gets really touchy if you like say anything, he'll bite your head off, like I said earlier. And so, anyway, I think my dad probably needs counseling for like his abuse and whatever happens like in his past that he's so worried about. Like, I wish we had enough money to just talk to a lawyer because, like I said, I don't even know what he did. I just know that he's convinced because of that church we went to that he's never going to be able to keep like roots in one place without them doing the same thing. But we had a great life before that happened, so like obviously for a while there it wasn't so bad. So I don't know, maybe if they got help they could stay put somewhere.
So it sounds like, sometimes whenever our parents have a rough childhood, sometimes they take it out on us. Luckily, it sounds like they do the opposite, and they don't punish you the same way that they were punished, and that's a good thing. And it's hard sometimes to think of that certain way whenever we talk about our parents. But about how old would you say that your dad is?
Um, he's like in his 40s, I think.
Okay, and your mom?
She's like 5 years younger than him. So
And people of that age, parenting was so different for their parents. And I know that I have clients whose parents treated them better than they were treated whenever they were children, and that says a lot about how parents grow and how they try to discipline their kids. What about your sisters? You said you had 2 sisters.
mm-hmm.
What are their ages?
um, Jess is 15. I think she just turned 15, and Joanna's 11.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about them. How do they manage, or how do they handle
Well,
moving
Jessa
around?
is really, really quiet. So, and she loves to read books.
Oh, yeah.
And she would never talk to anybody if we didn't make her. And I don't know if that's just her personality or if that's the way she just kind of deals with moving around a lot. Like, she just doesn't, she's happy with me and Joanna being her friends, and she doesn't need a whole lot of friends. So, she's pretty easy to entertain. I just want to make sure that she's safe. So, like, I take her to the library a lot, me and Joanna and her. If I find out where the library is and we go there, and then Jess will just sit there for, like, she can sit there for days and just read. And then Joanna is really active. Like, I think she has ADHD because she can't sit still for anything.
Okay.
So, like, I'll go to the library and I'll leave Jessa sitting in there in a corner reading, and then we'll go outside and we'll like do stuff. But it's exhausting. Like, I finally graduated, so it's not as big of a deal now because I'm not in school. But like when I was trying to do my homework and entertain Joanna and make sure she didn't like run away, like because she's still kind of young, and so that was frustrating. And mom's always looking for ways to help us, like free clinics and you know where they food bank, where they give out stuff, and trying to fill out stuff for housing wherever we go. And then dad is always looking for a job, and then he'll get one, and as soon as it's like my dad's not afraid to work. He just is afraid to stay wherever we are.
Right.
So he'll get a job, and like I said, we just came here. We're living in a van. Probably live in a van for a little bit longer. Then my parents will either get us government housing, or my dad will get his first paycheck, and we'll get a hotel until we can afford to get some little house or apartment or something.
Right.
So,
All right. Well, this is what I would like to do. It's going to sound weird at first. It's called the miracle question. Some people don't know how to take it, but it's a better way for me to kind of see what a way to set some goals, some personal goals for you to attain. Would you like to hear it?
okay.
Okay, here it goes. The miracle question is this. After you leave this session, and at the end of the day, when you go home, you go to bed, you lay down, you go to sleep, and then in the morning when you wake up, a miracle happened, and your life has changed, and everything that was causing you trouble in the past is disappeared. So what I want to know is, what does that day look like? Starting from the very minute you get up, what does the day look like?
Like it just changed overnight.
Just overnight.
I think my parents would have found some place to stay where they trust the people, and dad thinks that we're going to be taken care of, and then they come and tell us that we're going to stay long term, like we're not leaving. And then my sisters could enroll in a school, and they would maybe Jessica could make more friends, and I could stay with them because I really do like my family. And maybe my dad could get a lawyer, and my parents could get some counseling, and he could get his past taken care of on both counts, whatever that is.
Right.
And then I could go to school and stay with my family, and then I could become a teacher because that's what I want to do. Because I really want to. I want to help kids like me because, like, I know from moving around that I'm not the only kid that goes through stuff like this. But I move, and some kids like stay in one place and deal with the same kinds of stuff. And I want to teach because I really like languages. So I think that would be a good way to get into the school. But more than anything, I just want to work with teenagers, and I think schools are a good place to find teenagers that need help.
That sounds so awesome. So your miracle question was great. So what I heard was that a perfect day for you would wake up, be able to go to school. Your parents are going to work through the things that are going on, whatever they are in the past that happened. Sounds like some legal issues. He'll get those taken care of. You'll be able to help your sisters, or you won't even have to help your sisters because they'll have all the help that they've got.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a miracle. That would be the best miracle ever. And I would like to start from there and maybe set a few goals. Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that it's going to be tough, to have to take off and leave, and maybe for a few days leave your sisters behind, or until you can get some things straightened out. But I think in the long run, what I would like for you to start doing is look around for some schools, look and see exactly what it is that you want to go into. This is just little goals. Do you think from now until, we'll say, like, I know, 2 weeks, we'll reschedule and just get an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do with your life.
Okay.
If that means you want to journal and write it down, and sometimes I feel like if you write things down, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
If you're adamant about it and you keep writing it down, that thing will come to fruition. It's just like they say, if you speak something, it'll happen. If you speak positive things happen.
Well, one of the things I was going to maybe ask about was, like we stayed in Tennessee this time, which is good. Like we were on the west side of Tennessee near Memphis, and
Okay.
now we're here, but I'm still in state. So my teachers at the school I graduated from had said something about the Tennessee Promise, and I filled out a whole lot of paperwork and done like stuff for that. But then we moved, and so I mean, I know there's state community colleges and schools here. I just don't like. Is there any way to get that done here? Like, since I filled out the paperwork there, or
Since you feel that, yeah, for the Tennessee Promise,
yeah,
absolutely, and that'll be something that I'll write it down. I'm going to check into it. I think that
because I like totally can't afford school. That was the other thing. Was
Okay.
like I might have to work if I can't get a state scholarship or
Okay.
something.
so that seems to be another issue for you would be funding for school. Okay, so we've made a few small goals. Just do a little homework, get into checking out some schools, see what looks good to you, and so we'll also put Tennessee Promise down there. Whenever you're checking these schools out, if you find something that you like, maybe you could talk to, you can always call them, talk to their admissions office, and they'll help you with funding and things like that. There should be plenty of things out there. Can I ask you what your GPA was?
Um, well, it would be a lot higher if I
Okay.
didn't move so much, but it was a 3.2 something. Like it was.
Considering your past, 3.2 is not bad. So, I mean, did you take any of the testing, or were you able to
Yeah,
take?
my last school, like I didn't even know there was anything such thing as the ACT, and the guidance counselor like found out I hadn't taken it like 2 days before they were offering it, so she gave me a voucher,
Oh,
and I went and took it. But I only got one chance to take it, so
okay. Did you get your scores?
it was a 24.
Wow, not bad, not bad at all. So with scores like that, and with there's scholarships out there for people. There's Tennessee Promise. I mean, your whatever school you decide will help you with the funding,
Okay.
and I'll check into things as well.
Thank you.
So what I would like to do now is talk about a long term goal.
Okay.
After I've heard everything about your living situations, you've got to get out of there. We've got to be able to find you something. And I know that a homeless shelter doesn't sound great, but it's something that is better than living in a car. And I know that there's a place here in Cleveland where it's, like I said, it's not the best, but it's better than staying in your car. And I could get you in there today, and get you there for a couple of days, and then we'll find you a long-term place. There's a place called West Haven that takes girls from your age range, 18 to 25, and it's an amazing place. I know the owners, and I'm sure I could get you. It's first come first serve, but I'm sure I could get you in, and so I would like to
Like
run that by you if it sounds.
How long could I stay there?
At West Haven, you can stay until you get your feet on the ground. They'll help you with finding work. So, I mean, you don't just have to go in and then pack up and move out. It's not short term. It can be long term. And usually what they do is they'll help you find a job. They'll let you stay until you can get your money up to pay your rent at your own place. They'll help you transition into finding a home that you can stay at longer.
Okay, so like they would be okay with me going to school and maybe
Yes.
working and
They'll also help you find ways of getting to school. These people are awesome, and I know that her husband owns like a used dealership, and so you can always try and work out a way to find a ride, and then maybe even own your own one day.
Okay, well, like, I really want to do something long term. That's why I'm here, and I'm
Right.
18, and I want to be on my own. But like, is it a rule that I have to go to the shelter before I can go to West Haven, or can I stay with my family until you get me West Haven? Because like if they're not leaving yet and it's not a permanent situation for me, like I kind of want to stay with my family, but
You absolutely could.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know that sounds weird that I
It's
wouldn't
not a
want to
rule.
stay in the car. I
understand. I mean, you've got a really strong tie with your family, but I'm just saying that there's an option there. If you needed to get out of the car tonight, I could put you somewhere until you could.
But I want to do that like long term place.
Awesome.
Definitely.
We'll get that set up. So we're running out of time.
Okay.
I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here. What I'm going to do now is kind of just go over the things that I've heard. And if I missed anything, or if you feel like I left anything out, please let me know, and I'll add it to your file.
Okay.
Okay. So I know that you're 18 years old and you are living at home with your parents. Unfortunately, you move around a lot. Parents, it's kind of sticky at home. You've got two other sisters. I know that you're an amazing individual who speaks many languages or has studied many languages, and you play instruments, and you've got a really awesome gift. But I understand that it's time to move on out and to try and put some roots down because you haven't been able to put any roots down yet. So what we've went over today is some different things about what kind of social settings and what kind of ties you have. And unfortunately, you haven't been able to you've made many friends, but you haven't made any true lasting friendships. And you've told me a little bit about your family history and about things that have happened with your parents. And I really want to commend you on being able to come in here and tell me about these things. And it says a lot about your character. And I feel like you really are ready to make a step out and to move on. And you're wanting to go to school and you're wanting to put down roots. And I'm hoping today that I've been able to give you some advice, some short-term goals. Maybe we can get you to Cleveland State. And I mean, even if you didn't want to go to Cleveland State, maybe there's somewhere else that you might want to go. But we'll get that Tennessee Promise set up for you. And long-term goal, I'm going to give you your name to West Haven, and I'm going to give you the applications for West Haven for you to fill out, and then we'll take care of that as well. Do you have any questions, or did I leave anything out that you feel like?
When am I going to hear from you again, or do I need to call you again? Like, how do we work?
Well, this is just really a one-time meeting. I do want to check up on this Tennessee Promise for you, and I will get in touch with West Haven. But really, this was our very first meeting, and hopefully, this could have been our last meeting. But would you like to make another appointment?
Well, I'm nervous because, like I said, I don't know anybody from around here, so, like, I just wanted to make sure that I was doing everything right, that I wasn't going to get lost in the system.
No.
So, like, if I call them at Cleveland State, they'll help me do that with getting started with school, and then how am I going to get the application for West Haven? Like,
I've got it for you here.
Do I need to go down there myself, and then they'll hook me up?
I'll let you take the application to them, but I'm also going to make sure I keep a copy of everything, and I'll give them a call as well. Why don't we go ahead and set a meeting though we'll say for 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
In that time, I think that gives you plenty of time to be able to get in touch with Cleveland State. And by that time, we should definitely be making some leeway on getting you a bed at West Haven.
Okay. And if my parents, they probably won't, but if my parents decide to up and leave, can I call you and get into that emergency place?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This has been a really great meeting. I really feel glad that I'm so honored that you came in here and talked to me and let me know everything that's going on in your life. I hope you had a great meeting with me. So that's really it for the day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions or any feelings? Anything that you?
No, I mean like as long as I have somebody that I can call again. So if you're okay with me calling you again
Absolutely.
if I have problems, then
Absolutely.
okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That's it.